good? All right, remember we have mics today. We're streaming, so get my attention. Everybody ready? Coach?
Good. Okay. Another conference opponent that I think are playing well. Just haven't won a lot of games yet, but offensively, Chip has done a nice job with this offense. He's been kind of shuffling quarterbacks, but they move the ball very well. They played tough against Oregon. They have two Pac-12 wins against Cal on the road, and they beat Arizona as well. So they're an efficient offense. Defense is pretty athletic. They're a scary team. Time of possession, that's what Chip kind of likes. They're balanced. They got a good runner, run the ball fairly well. So this is big test for us. We've been in this situation before when we won 2 in a row and didn't handle it very well. So opportunities in life come along, and when they come along, you have to take advantage of them. And we play at home. It's our last home game. Probably emotional for a lot of guys because they're seniors. A lot of seniors' parents will be here. All those things become distractions. And I think our focus needs to be very keen this week. This is an important game. They all become important in November. They're all games that can dictate what happens to you as a football team. So I think the mindset for our coaches is pretty much set. I've kind of gone over that yesterday. We had a good meeting with the staff. Now we've got to get the players well aware of what's going on this week. As I said, senior week's always big. A lot of distractions. A lot of family coming in town. Players being pulled here or there. They're hearing about all these things that they can accomplish. You can't accomplish anything unless you got the right mindset, and that's go to work and go to practice. And so we're going to make sure that we get focused on practicing well this week, so we have an opportunity to win a game. Questions?
Holt Rubino, Devil's Digest. Herm, you said in the past that this team did not handle success that well after the Michigan State game. Would it be fair to say that maybe that hurdle was somewhat overcome after a big win after USC coming and playing the way you did against Utah, or do you still have the same concern now after Utah win going into UCLA?
Negative on that question. We'll see. We'll see how we handle it. This team, like UCLA and like Arizona, new head coaches trying to build programs, and every time you play a game, you find out a little bit more about your football team. And so I think that's important, and we'll see where we're at after this game.
Coach Tim Ring, CBS 5. Obviously, it's one game at a time. We know that. That's the right and only attitude. But you guys also have an opportunity now. You've put yourself in a position where you're 3 wins away from a berth in the Pac-12. But that's an opportunity that these kids have in front of it. Is it possible to use that big prize as part of the motivation tactic to make sure they take it one game at a time?
Make sure you coach your team that way. I'm going to coach my team the way I think is necessary, and I think it's this week and it's only this week. And I've always coached that way. I don't get involved in all that other stuff. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. When it shows up opportunity, you take advantage of it. We have an opportunity to try to win 3 in a row. We haven't done that. That's the biggest hurdle we got to face. Can we win 3 in a row? We haven't done it yet. So till we do that, we haven't done a whole lot. So we won 2 games in a row. Whoopee. Can we win 3? That's how I function. I don't get caught up in all the other stuff. It's just too much to handle. It's too much to explain and all that. Just win. If you win, it takes care of itself.
Coach Paul Richardson with the Sports Game. Two questions. One, could you talk about the offensive line and the way they imposed their will in the fourth quarter, and then just kind of compare number 1 and how special he is?
Well, offensive line, and starts with Coach Christensen and that group up front. I thought the acquisitions of both transfer players has helped us. They've been very solid, especially the last couple weeks. When you think about the numbers of this football team, we've passed it 281 times, and we've run it 333 times. So that's pretty good balance of the offensive football team. And 1 is 1. He's a special player. When you look at his numbers, he's 55 reception, I think it is, and 828 yards. He's got, 11 total touchdowns, a couple running, a couple receiving. We asked him to do a little bit of everything. So, he's been special the last 2 weeks. He really has. When you think about his numbers, about 5 touchdowns in 2 weeks. And so that's a credit to him and what he means to the team. And, when you think about him and Eno, has 13 touchdowns. He's over 1,000 yards rushing already. No one anticipated that. Maybe he did coming into the season, but he hadn't played a lot. And I don't think he thought he was going to be carrying it almost 25 times a game either, but that's the numbers. I mean, he's carried it, 193 times already. And generally, you carry it 25 times, so he's going to probably end up with 250 carries. And to me, that's fine. I mean, in the other league I played in, I had backs carried 300 times. And it's just, he does a good job. He's remarkable because he's not the biggest guy in the world, but he has a way of bouncing off tackles, and he's got great balance, and I think that helps us. When you can run the ball with him and getting Nikhil involved, and that becomes pretty good offense. Manny, doesn't have probably as many pass attempts as he'd like, but I thought the last 2 weeks he's been spot on. He's made some good throws. Ayuk has kind of come around now. Floyd ran the ball fairly well. So I think our offense is starting to click. We need to keep clicking, though. This is a good defense as far as athleticism. So we'll have another test in front of us this week.
Herm, that seemed like your most complete offensive game, at least against a good team. Mm-hmm. What's the interaction like with Rob Likens at this point? I know you're not patting yourselves on the back and all that, but just given that you're starting to put something together on that side of the ball and what Rob Likens has been able to accomplish in that regard.
Well, it starts with continuity, understanding a little bit of the head coach's philosophy, understanding the strengths of our players. And I think you find that out as you start playing football games. You always have this goal of what you want to become. You don't know till you start playing. And then you have to adjust when the season starts. And I think we've kind of found our way, and we've been always tinkering with it and just trying to find our way. And I think any good offense understands this. It's about the possessions that you own and what you do with those possessions. And anytime we can get a flow going, which we did this week against a really good defense, you gain confidence. And so I think our offense is gaining some confidence. It helps that our star players are playing well in big games, and they need to play well. Because when they're playing well, everyone feeds off those guys. And we have 3 stars on offense. Starts with the quarterback, the wide receiver, and the runner. Those are the guys that get the most compliments. People expect them to play well, so there's a lot of pressure on them week in and week out. And then the complementary pieces that go along with that, 2 of the fellows that I just named, they have an opportunity. And so when it's going and you get on long drives, as I said, the fourth quarter last game we played, it was 12 minutes, almost 13 minutes of possession time. You got a chance to do some things, and it's hard to do, but I think the last couple of weeks we've kind of found our way, which is good.
Coach Bobby Krause, Walter Cronkite Sports Network. We're coming up on 1 calendar year of you being in charge of this program. Can you describe what these seniors have meant to you in this year, setting up the foundation of this program? Guys, of course, like Manny and Jalen, but Daz and Quinn and guys like that.
Well, change is always hard on seniors, or just like veterans in the National Football League that might be in their last year. And all of a sudden, a new guy comes in. Okay, well, how's he going to change it? How's he going to affect me? I'm not part of his guy. I'm not part of the guys that he obviously scouted or recruited or drafted in the NFL. But I think for the most part, I think what they've learned is that I adapt to the players we have. And I thought for the most part, the offense stayed intact, of what we were trying to do. Now, as we continued to play, obviously a lot of folks said, well, they don't throw the ball anymore. Yeah, we throw the ball. We just run it. I mean, we were balanced. And I said that when I took the job. We want to be balanced. That doesn't mean we're not going to pass. So I think I've adjusted to their strengths, and I've let them play to that. As we continue to grow as a football team, and we go out and we continue to recruit, you'll see subtle changes because of the players that we bring in here. But I'm smart enough to know you're only as good as the players you have. And if you don't put them in position to have success, then you failed them. And I'm not here to fail players. That's not what I do. I try to put players in the best position so they can have some success. And that's what we try to do, and I think they understand that.
Herm, how well have you gotten a chance to know Chip Kelly, either just since you joined the conference or through your days in the NFL?
Yeah, met Chip a while back when he was in Philly. I was invited. I was the honorary captain for the Eagle game. I met Chip then, and then spent some time with him when he was in San Francisco. We took 49er job. I went up there, and so he's a good football coach. One of the better college coaches and better college, as far as offensive guys in the country. You think about what he accomplished up there in Oregon. It was fun to watch. I mean, he had it going now. That thing was woo. It was going 1,000 miles an hour. And I can remember sitting in the studio being a pro guy going, oh boy, that's hard. And then Tony Dungy, his son had gone to school there for a little while, and he left. He left after, I think, his junior year and ended up going back to Florida. So Tony had visited him as well. And so, as you guys know, I'm really tight with Tony. And does a lot of good things, and kind of had a new way. He was kind of outside the box in thinking on how to train players and all that stuff. And so I like guys like that, people that'll go outside their comfort zone, and other people kind of question him, why is he doing that? He's, and he was very successful. And I think when he gets his players and he develops a system at UCLA, they're going to be really good. I mean, I think they're competing right now, and they've been in a lot of tight ball games. We're fortunate. We've been in some of those, and we've won. That's kind of how it works. But I respect him. He's a good football coach.
Coach Michelle Gardner, Arizona Republic. The contribution of Brandon Ayuk in the game this week, you guys went to him more. He had more opportunity. Was it something you guys saw where you thought this could be a week he contributes more, or was it because the attention on Nikhil left him a little bit more open?
Kind of twofold, but really, he comes out of junior college along with Floyd, and I thought, early in the season, they were like freshmen. Even though they're JC guys, it's new to them. The speed of the game, I think, caught them both by surprise. And they had some hiccups early, and they've overcome those hiccups now. They're more confident. You can see it every day in practice. I thought the catch Ayuk made against, might have been Michigan State, the one on the boundary, I think, he was out of bounds. He caught it. He struggled a little bit early, and then he made that catch, and I said, okay. And every week he kind of does a little something more. And you could just tell the last couple weeks, even the SC thing, I mean, he was kind of like, okay, he's starting to get it now. And then Floyd, too. And so that's good, because that's what you anticipate, that guys come from JC, and even though they're JC players a little bit older, the speed of the game catches them by surprise. It was like our freshmen when we started those guys early. Now it seems like they're at ease with the speed of the game. And so, yeah, he's a unique player now. I mean, He's got some talent. It'll be fun to watch him continue to play.
Coach, can you describe, after Manny throws the interception, what his demeanor's like on the sideline and what kind of enables him to bounce back from moments like that?
Well, generally when something like that happens, I always address the quarterback to let him know it's okay, because the next time we go out there, the first play is going to be a pass. So we're going to get it out of your system. It's like the guy that drops the ball, Hey, guess what? I'm throwing you the ball next play. It's like the running back that fumbles the ball. You're getting the ball, partner. So don't let that, it doesn't bother me. It happens, it's ball. And he said, hey, Coach, that's on me. And I said, don't worry about it. We're good. So we'll stop him, and we're fortunate enough to stop him and keep playing. But I think, he realizes that I'm not one of those guys that all of a sudden change and you lose your demeanor. I've been there, been in too many games as a player and as a coach. It's more of settling. Just say, okay, what did you see? I made a bad decision. All right, good. And then we move on. We move on to the next series, and we talk about the next possession and what we're going to try to do. And I don't make a whole lot out of it. I just don't. You don't have time. No quarterback wants to throw the ball to the other guy. And it's just you get into that, and he knew he made a bad mistake, And the good part, he's played enough football where it didn't affect his confidence. And I think if I can, as soon as something like that happens to a player, I make sure I address it with them, because they always want to know what are they thinking. You're good. I'm gonna throw another one. Don't worry about it. Just don't throw it to the other guy. And he's fine. So he was good. He's been good. He's been good the last 2 weeks. We need him to play good down the stretch. Good. Oh yes. Where's my hero back there?
Luke Lipinski, Arizona
yes.
Sports. Question for you on
Yes,
Nikhil.
sir. Yeah.
With the national attention he's getting and with the future he probably has at the next level, probably be easy for him to kind of get more individualistic. It seems like he's the opposite of that. Is that your influence, or is that just the way he is?
I think he's that way, but I think I think the talk we had at the beginning of the season, I called him and Manny in because they're two of the better players, and they played a lot together. I just told them our personal goals. They have to be connected, and I think we've got a pretty good relationship, to be quite honest. Talk to both those guys a couple times a week just to make sure we're all on the same page. But he knows that, these last couple games are important because of what this team is trying to accomplish this year. And every day he goes out there and practice, he prepares. When you watch guys prepare, they're going to play good. That's football. It's just guys that prepare and understand, yes, practice, nobody's out there. But when you watch him work, you're happy that he's having success, because that's how it works in this game. You can't cheat the game of football. You cannot. It doesn't work that way. You got to put the work in. You got to put the work in when no one's out there. There's no fans, there's no popcorn, there's no scoreboard, there's no people. It's just a bunch of guys running around practicing. And the guys that are willing to do that, they play well. They just do. And the guys that don't, you could tell, say, not so good this week. And that's what I've always witnessed about football. That is so important to put the preparation in, because in this game you practice more than you play for the rest of your life. And I think the guys that get it early, they have success in this game. It's because it's a wonderful game. It really is. It's the greatest game I've ever been involved in. I don't sit in this seat without this game. It's done everything for me and my family. I say that all the time, and I mean that. I owe whatever I have in my being to give back to football. And this is why I sit here today, to make sure these players understand that this is a fabulous game, and you learn a lot of life lessons when you do this. It teaches you things that you hold on to when you leave the game of football, and hopefully these guys understand that.
Jeff Metcalf, Arizona Republic. You talked about the 2-game winning streak at the beginning of the season, and now this 2-game winning streak. How is your team better positioned now to maintain that winning streak, the momentum, as opposed to when you went to San Diego State?
Well, I think they've gone through when they won too early and everybody telling them they were this and that, right? And obviously didn't handle it very well. And so, in life you don't get a lot of opportunities. Now this opportunity presents itself again where you won two, and I made not light of it, but I said it after the game was over in the locker room. I told him, said, hey, okay, big deal. Never won 3. Can you do that? Let's see. That was kind of the challenge. Can you win 3 in a row? You haven't done it yet. So I don't know what we're all excited about. That's just me. And maybe I should be all giddy. I've been doing this too long. Just, can you win 3? That's what you talk about. It's that. It's the next game. It's always the next game for me. It's never about other stuff. It's the next game. How do we prepare as coaches? How do we get the players prepared? And then how do they perform on the grass? And then how you perform shows up. And then if you win, if we're fortunate enough to win, I'll be in here next Monday, and you know what I'll say? Hey, okay, can you win another one? That's what we do. That's how I work. That's how it operates with me. I don't get caught up in anything else. I get caught up in the preparation that week to try to win a game. That's the fun of coaching. It's the preparation part. And then it's watching them on the field and making some decisions for them that I have to do as a head coach. But it's watching them, and then the enjoyment when they win a game, for me to walk in that locker room and sit on the table for 5 minutes and just watch them. I don't say a word. I just sit on the table. I just sit there, and I just watch them. That's the joy for me at the end. I walk off the field and I say, I get to watch these guys. And I go sit in there. And I just watch them. And they all know I'm watching. I just watch them. And then I'll speak to them, and then they get to go home and do what they do.
Herm, Tim Healy, ASU Radio. You have on your staff a potential future NFL Hall of Famer. I was wondering if you could talk about what having a man of Kevin Mawai's caliber, how that impacts your program.
Well, it's fun to have Kevin because it's kind of ironic, you know, this football thing goes in circles. And I can remember when I was a rookie head coach with the Jets, he was on that football team. And generally before every game, there's a couple players that I hug. Just because I always told players, and it started with Lynch when I was in Tampa, I used to tell John right after the national anthem, I said, okay, give me a hug. I said, can a little bit of me go out there with you? Because I can't play anymore. And so I did the same thing when I was in New York. It was 3 guys on offense. It was a quarterback. I always hugged the quarterback. It was the runner, and it was Kevin Mawai. And so if you watch us before the game, first thing we said in the first game, he says, guess what? We get to hug each other again. That's a good thing. So there's a comfort there because I think what Kevin can do is give light to a lot of the coaches of kind of how I think and how I operate, because he was with me for 5 years. The good times, the playoff times, the not so good times, he knows how I operate. And a lot of the questions that a coach might have, they ask Kevin, what did you think? And Kevin will tell them, nah, don't ask him that. Probably not a good decision by you to ask him that, because I know what he's going to say. So he's kind of a mouthpiece for me. As far as the players, he's a wealth of knowledge. He's another guy, when you think about him, Antonio Pierce, Coach Nua, wide receiver Hagan, you know, all those guys have been to where these guys want to go. So during the course of a day, if you're not talking to them and you have potential and you have the ambitions of playing at that level, shame on you, because they have knowledge. They have experience. They know what it takes to play at that level. So it's fun having those guys, because a lot of questions that players might be fearful of asking me, they can ask those guys. And anything about me, there's 2 guys that know me better than anybody. It's Kevin Mawai and Nate Wainwright. You know, Nate Wainwright's my right-hand guy. I mean, he's kind of like, when I hired him here, everyone's, well, what does he do? And everybody knows. Nate does what Nate does, because he's my guy. He's been with me from the beginning that I became a head coach, so in 2 stops. And so that helps you, because you got to speak to so many people within a day, and you can't touch everybody. You know, I'm one of those guys that talk to people. I talk to players. I talk to coaches. You know, I visited with every coach this week. I mean, since yesterday and today, I visited with every individual coach and told them what I expected from them with their group. And so you have to touch everybody. You got to go in the training room. You got to go in the equipment room. Those guys can help me because they kind of know where I'm at. They kind of look at my demeanor. They can look at my eyes. They can hear my tone when I speak. Kevin's heard it before. Nate's heard it before. So if they have to decode something, the coach says, what did he mean by that? And they go, well, this is what he meant. And so it's good to have those guys around. Good question. You always ask good questions. That's why you're a professional, seasoned professional. When you watch me play, I know you're a seasoned professional. Good. Thank you, folks. All right.